Good midday to you, one and all. We are again thankful and grateful to God for another opportunity to be able to come into that space, that moment, wherever you are, so that we can share the word of the Lord with you on today. The sun is shining, it's a lot warmer, but there is devastating weather throughout the country. And we need to make sure that we lift those residents, those persons in prayer and pray that people get good sense. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how many people, irregardless of the warnings, irregardless of the precautions that people put in place, just make it up in their mind. They don't care. They're going to do what they want to do. Nancy, good midday to you. And then the problem is they place other people's lives in jeopardy to be rescued. Jemison, Cora, Cecile, good midday to all of you. So we're grateful for this day, but they need prayer. If they tell me to evacuate, thank you, Jemison, for sharing. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing. Appreciate that. Chaplain Hearns, bless you for being here. Tamika, good to see you. Erica, bless you. Good seeing you here. Okay. Tell Larry we said hey. it's it just amazes me. It absolutely amazes me. I don't understand that. Minister Sarah, bless you for being here. It just amazes me that people have determined that they are in control of their lives and they're going to do what they want to do. Ethel, good midday to you. And then place themselves and others in harm's way. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Or maybe we come from a different culture where we understand boundaries and limitations where others um, I got a feeling what it's called, but I'm not gonna say it. Denise, how you doing, girl? Good midday to you. Okay. And so we're grateful to God. Stephanie, thank you for being here. And we are thankful for each and every one of you. Pat Axel, glad that you are here with us today. And so, in about another minute, we will begin this endeavor to understand more about the power of prayer. Lady Bowling, how are you? Thea, bless your heart for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, one and all. As some have already done, if you would share, that would be absolutely wonderful. Linda Arrington, bless you for being here, and thank you. Thank you for what you did. You know what I'm talking about, and I'm grateful to God for you. Okay. And so, getting ready to get started here in just a second. might be might be some levels of difficulty to this facet of the lesson, but I'm going to teach it anyway. Sylvia Scott, good midday to you, because I think it's important for us to grasp. Christy, how you feeling? And so, by doing so, thank you, James. I appreciate you, sir, making sure that our media presentation is up to par. Um, we know that God is a healer. Am I correct? I think we all understand that clearly. We all understand the healing power and capability of our God. He is above and beyond all of our expectations. There's no questioning His ability to heal. Many of us, even today, have recognized. Vernice, bless you, dear, for being here. Many of us have experienced God's healing power. Many of us have testified to the fact that there were some issues that were going on physically or even mentally, socially, psychologically, and God intervened. He showed his power, the power of praying for those that God's healing hand would rest upon them is significant because it allows that person to experience his presence and his power and his might, that he is still able to do above and beyond all we could ask or think. It does happen. And I'm grateful to God for it happening because he is a healer. But Lavonda, how are you? But what happens and how do you deal with when God is not healing? Sonia, how you doing? Tell the good deacon we said hello. What happens? How do you deal with how do you pray? Winnie Howard, how do you pray when there will not be a healing? Pamela Stevens, thank you for being here. How do you deal with, boy, this is going to be deep right here because he is a healer. We've all experienced it. How do you, Timothy Blair, how do you deal with when God is basically saying, I've allowed them to live as long as I have allowed them to live, and that eventually I'm going to call them home? Woo! 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 This is going to be deep right here, Carolyn Richardson. I know you got this, because see, let me tell you, of course, I've been an intercessor for a long time. I know what my gifts are. Prayer changes in a different direction if you are sensitive to the spirit of the condition of someone that God is going to provide the ultimate healing. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Let's talk about something. Everybody from the Old Testament to the New Testament, except for Jesus Christ, is dead. I want you to wrap your mind around this. Even when Jesus delayed in going to the graveside of Lazarus, and they said, well, by now, since you showed up 4 days later, he stinks. And the false notion of the spirit of the person, Rosabelle, dear, how are you? The false notion of the spirit hovering around the body for 3 days with the possibility of re-entry into the body has now, Sandra, how are you? Has now been depleted, and now we have no help whatsoever. Good midday, Minister Marcia Walker. And so he says, take me to where you've put him. And so he tells them to roll the stone away. And then that's when they say, Lady Bowling, Lisa. And I think that's something that she just said that is pertinent and relevant, because they said, roll the stone away. And so, good midday, Carletta. And so they said, no, he stinks now. Victor Trinette can't do that. He says, just roll the stone away. And the Bible says that he called him by his name. Lazarus, come forth. And when he came forth, he was still bound, and Jesus said, loose him. But eventually, listen to what I'm saying, every one of them still died. There is not one person in the Bible except for Jesus Christ who is still alive. They have all died. They've all been buried. And what do you do, and how do you deal with that? Because when you go from me Sheila, how are you? And I go into that hospital room and that person is laying there and they're looking at me. I want you to hear what I'm saying. They're looking at me because for the most part, when people know that I'm coming, they're anticipating that I'm going to lay hands on them and there will be a miraculous recovery. But what happens when, and there's a couple of them in particular that I remember and I shall never forget them. When I go into that hospital room or I go into that ER and the Spirit of the Lord speaks to me, hear what I'm saying. Since prayer starts with God, and he speaks to me and he says, I'm going to call them home. I tell the Lord at that particular time, Herma, how are you? What do I say? What do I pray? He says and reminds me that I'm the God of comfort. Lord, have mercy. I'm the God of comfort. That in every situation, in every circumstance, I will comfort them. I will keep them. And ultimately, I will bring them to me. Christine Thomas, bless you, dear. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So when I go into those rooms and it's time for me to pray, the prayer of healing is different. What do? I ask the Lord to give them peace. I ask the Lord to comfort them. I ask the Lord to calm their nerves. I ask the Lord because I'm hearing what God is telling me to speak into their spirit. That no matter what the circumstance will be, that God is in control and he's too wise to make a mistake. And in the midst of this, I'm praying for your peace that passes all understanding. That's powerful, isn't it? Because my question to you is, how many times have you prayed for God to heal somebody and they died? Vernice, how are you? Listen to what I'm saying. And when you went into that room and you prayed for God to heal them and they died, how did you feel? Listen to what I'm saying. The enemy can get in that moment of the transition of that person because what you prayed for, you thought God didn't answer. And so what happens is you take it personal. You begin to call yourself a failure. You begin to say, maybe it would have been better for me. Hey, Shirley Brumfield, maybe it would have been better for me to just stay at home than to believe God for the miraculous. No. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. You cannot place God in the position of what you want God to do. You must place yourself in the position that you are willing to accept what God can, will, and shall do. Lord, I hope somebody is getting this because this is overwhelmingly important. How many of us are carrying the scars of what we thought was unanswered prayer? How many of us have gone to those people or gone into those hospital rooms or gone into those nursing homes? You've done all of those things and you believe God that he was going to heal them. And what you failed to understand is that God is not limited to what you think healing is. Lady Bowling said it crystal clear. The ultimate healing that takes place in everybody's life is to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. But how do I deal with the pain? How do I deal with the hurt? Hey, Iris, how are you? How do I handle what if I would have? I should have did something else. If I'd have showed up a little bit earlier, if I would have did this, if I would have did that, and everybody has to deal with that. I'm gonna tell you a story, and it bothers me, and I'm gonna just tell you the story. My dad was on his deathbed, and at that particular time I wasn't saved, so death was not a friend, and nor did I understand it. And so when I went to go see him, I was petrified. I'm 17 years old. I don't even know where my brother was at that time, and I'm petrified. I go into the room. I want to see my dad. And I heard my dad say, "Call your mother. I need her to get here right now." And when I tell you, something went through me like I have never felt before in my life. And I said, "Okay, let me go call her." And I started to run out the room. My dad said, "Well, the phone is over here." I said, "No, Dad, I'm gonna go out here and call her from out here, the phone in the hallway." It wasn't, listen to me, it wasn't that I did not know where the phone was. I was scared to death that what he wanted my mother to do was to get there before he died. And I did not want to be in that room when he did. And I know some of you have never been at that point in life. And the Lord has had to heal me from that, because that's why I don't like visiting hospitals. Is that too transparent? I don't like hospitals at all because of that experience I had at 17. And so, what did I have to do? I had to learn that I was not God, that God was not in the business of granting me what I want, but he's in the business of transferring me into what he wants me to be. And so now when I go to the hospitals, even though that's at the back of my mind, it doesn't control my presence. Forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth to those things which are before, I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. What does that mean? The memory is not gone, but the memory cannot control me. I wish I had somebody that really understood. Because see, when we start talking about things like that and praying and talking to God, that's kind of murky water for us, because we really don't want to talk about that. We really don't want to talk about, and I had to watch that person leave. I have seen so many people die. It is unbelievable. And you know what I ask God to do? Give them peace. You know what I ask for the family? Give them peace. Well, you know what I ask for myself? Give me peace, so that I will not utter one word out of my mouth that will not be appropriate for them or the family to hear at this particular time. Did I lose some of y'all? And you know, the best thing that you can do is, when you think you failed, talk to somebody. Y'all didn't catch this. Talk to somebody. And I'm not talking about anybody. Talk to somebody who really know. I ain't talking about somebody that go to church. Confessing, I got, I had a situation that I needed to consult. Understood, Sonia. Not a problem at all. But listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I needed to go talk to somebody because I felt that I was losing my sensitivity when it was time for people to die and different things to happen. And after consulting with this person, he began to help me to understand better how I process death. Woo. And for us as Christians, death is not the end, it's the beginning of eternity. See, y'all probably wish y'all had never got on here today. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I want you to hear what I'm saying. It is appointed unto all of us once to die, and then after the death, there's the judgment. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? Charmaine, I need us to understand this, because you are carrying guilt in thinking that there was something else you should have done or could have done. We have all done it. And for some of us that are on this session right now, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You are carrying a weight that does not belong to you. You are carrying a shame that does not belong to you. You are trying to convince yourself that if you would have just did something else, everything would have changed. No. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, that moment in life, those moments, those situations were already ordered by God. And if you wanted to change it, you can't change it because it's his will. And you got to let that go. You got to tell somebody, you know what? I feel guilty. I feel like I let my person down. I feel like I disappointed them. I felt like, especially for those of us that probably could have went to talk to them and we decided not to. I'm guilty of that too. And you know what I had to do? I had to lay aside every weight and every sin that does so easily beset us. Because whom the Son has set free is free indeed, even when you have to face the unfaceable, even when you have to face what you cannot stand or don't like, even when you have to face that moment when you wanted God to do one thing, but God says, that's not what I'm going to do. Let me go. I know that left y'all on a down note right there. I know that had you been out of shape. I know, but see, we've got to come to terms with in our praying, just like doctors take an oath or health providers take an oath to make sure that they do everything within their power to bring back the health of their patients. They also understand that some of those patients are beyond their control. And in order for you to be an effective health provider, in order for you to be an effective pastor, evangelist, minister, in order for you to be effective, you have to know what you can do, and you leave the rest for God to do, and you bless him in the midst of it. Okay, y'all, I got to go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to depress you. I really didn't mean to get you bent out of shape. I really didn't mean to bring you down. But guess what? We've got to face this. If we're going to do what God, listen. How many people on a daily basis do you think God deals with who dies? And so I'm sorry if I got you bent out of shape, if I tore you up, if it looks like no, because we got to learn how to count it all joy. We got to turn around and say, especially if they knew the Lord, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Yeah, we have to learn. We have to learn to trust God, even when we don't like what God's doing. Listen, I done went 3 minutes over. I got to get out of here. Y'all have a blessed day in the Lord. I'm so sorry. You may not feel like it right now, but joy is going to show up in the morning. May God bless you. May he keep you is our prayer.